Hi, it's Ian from the Fab Lab. I'd like to show you a free bit of software called Inkscape. And the idea of Inkscape, it's for 2D drawing in relation to sending your drawings to a laser cutter or a vinyl cutter or any kind of machine that will work from 2D drawings. So we also have water jet cutter and a CNC router, all of which Inkscape can produce the drawings for. When we open it up, this is what we get, same as a lot of CAD drawing programs. And if you use Illustrator, you'll probably realize there's a lot of similarities. Now, a vector line is a simple line that's drawn on a computer, which is then sent to a machine. The machine recognizes it. So I'm going to actually draw a line now. I'm just looking at all the tools on the left-hand side here. Hopefully you can see my cursor. And there's a line there as a pencil with a squiggly line. So I'm going to left click on that. Now if I draw, I'm just going to left click and draw a line. I can see it's moving up and down, so I'm just going to try pressing Control, and you can see it goes straight. So I can move around or press Control, and I'm just going to left click again. And there's a line. The line that I've just drawn is a very clean vector line, which a laser cutter can follow. I think before we go any further, let's have a look at the controls on here. I haven't moved around or anything, so I'm just going to get my mouse now, and I'm just going to kind of scroll with the wheel. So I'm moving the wheel in the middle. It's a PC, obviously, so I've got a wheel in the middle of my mouse there. So as I scroll, it goes up and down. So I'm just going to press Control and scroll again, and we can see we can zoom. Let's press the wheel up and down again, and just press Shift and see what happens. You can, okay. We can go left and right while pressing Shift. Take Shift off and it goes up and down. Press Control, it goes in and out, and that's all with the wheel in the middle of the mouse. I'm just going to see what happens when I right click and drag. Nothing. So let's happen when we press Control, right click and drag, and we can pan. So quite quickly we've realized that we can zoom in and out by pressing Control and use the wheel in and out. We can pan by pressing Control again and right clicking and dragging. And of course we've also got these bars up here we can actually navigate and move around. So let's have a look at this this drawn mark again. Let's see what happens if we go back. I'm going to click on that same icon here. And this time I'm actually going to hold, instead of left clicking and then moving the mouse and left clicking again, I'm going to hold the left click down. And what you'll see is it will produce, wherever I move the mouse, a curved line. I'm going to take my finger off the mouse there, and we've got this curve here. If I kind of zoom in, you see the line is very broken. And this is the problem with an awful lot of CAD programs. There is a quick fix for this. I'm going to go up to the second logo down there and click on that, and it's editing paths, it says. So if I click on it, you'll see all of these kind of bits of information here. There's an awful lot of them. So if I just press Control and the letter L on the keyboard, it should reduce them and then clean up our line as well. So we'll do the same again, Control and L, and it's reducing again, and one more time, Control and L, and there you have it. So we've kind of smoothed up our line quite quickly and easily. We should also be able to grab one of those lines. I think if we go back to the cursor here, let's put the line back on there. Can we move that? Yes, we can. So we've got a great deal of ability to change our drawing from the initial first line we put in there. Okay, that's good. So I'm just going to press Enter and go back to our cursor there, and there we have our two lines, two different types of lines. And the next thing I'm going to do is look at one or two of the kind of logos down here, one or two of the tools we have here. Obviously there's a rectangle there, so I'm just going to left click on it, make a little rectangle like so. Let's go to the next one. We're going to make a circle, and there's a star there as well, so I'm going to click on that. And of course I can see up here corners it says 13, and you can make it rounded as well. So that's what happens when we left click, and I'm just dragging on my left on the left button on the mouse there, and I can kind of zoom around as well. So what I might do, I think, is just see if I can change the corners from 13 to just 5. I enter as well, and there you can see we've got 5 there as well. And of course we've got a thing that says rounded there, so I think if we, oh, it's minus, let's go up, and that should round up our star. As you can see, it's rounded as well. So lots of nice tools there we can use. So that's drawing lines, so we should be able to draw simple designs and so on. I'm just going to zoom out of there, and I'm going to put some text underneath. There should be a text, there's a little icon there, creating text. I think I'll probably have to click there to start it, and there we go. And I'm just going to type in, let's say, Fab Lab Plymouth, shall we? F-A-B, L-A-B, Plymouth. Now, text and font seems to be on the right-hand side there, so I'm going to open that up, and I should have a few possibilities of changing things here. We can see normal up there. Let's see what. Oh, I can make it bold. There you go. That's good. I can change my size here as well. So at the moment, I can go to 22 there, make it smaller. Let's make it a little bit bigger. 36. Okay, that's great. So this is, let's say this is my initial design. I'm going to save this now just to prove that there probably would be a problem with this Fab Lab Plymouth with text. It sometimes happens with other programs as well, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my design, save it, and open it up in our software for our laser cutter. So I'm going to go up to File, because it's always going to be up there, save and import, export, that kind of thing, and save as. That's great. So it's saving as an Inkscape document. I'm going to call it, let's say, test text. So it's the text that I want to see if that works. I'm not expecting it to work actually. Put it onto the desktop, and I'm going to, instead of an SVG, I'm going to save it as a DXF. Now, DXF is a kind of a standard 2D file. DXF there. Going on to the desktop, test text, desktop cutter, and save. I'm just going to click OK on that. As we know, the term CAD CAM. CAD is computer aided design, and CAM is computer aided manufacture or computer aided modeling. Now, let's say its design is our drawing, and the CAM is the machine. The laser cutter in this case. In the middle is going to be a bit of software, and that software will actually take our design, put it into the software, and translate it into the information that could be sent to the laser cutter. So the software in this case is called RDWorks. I'm just going to open it up here. What this is a virtual kind of laser cutter bed, and I'm just going to import our design from Inkscape. File, import, and search for our file. There it is. It's test text. I'm going to click on it and then open, and there you have it. Let's zoom out a little bit, and you can see, as I expected, our lines have come through fine, but the text hasn't. Now there's a reason for that. There's a good reason for that. I'm going to just delete, and I'm going to go back to Inkscape. The reason this hasn't come out is because as text, sometimes these are coming out as PDFs rather than an actual vector line. If you remember, it's the vector that the computer will recognize. So I'm simply going to highlight this Fab Lab Plymouth and just go up to the word path up here, and you can see object to path. It's one of the first things up there. I'm going to left click on that. That should now give me an actual path around the text. Now I've done that, let's just see what happens when we save that. File, save as, and I'll overwrite the same file as a DXF. Again onto the desktop, and save. Okay, and it's telling me it already exists, so I'm just going to replace it. for that to save. Let's open RDWorks again, and now we're going to bring in our design import. Again, we're looking for test text, and you can see the text this time. I'm going to open it up, and there you have it. You've got the text as well. So that's one thing to remember. If we're working in text, we have to create an outline within Inkscape. I'm going to delete that one more time and show you one, I think, a fantastic thing that Inkscape can do. I'm just going to go back here. I'm just going to delete everything on our page. And delete. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in a Jpeg to Inkscape, and then it's going to trace that Jpeg to produce a clean vector. Of those, grab this photograph. It's a reptile eye, and I actually picked this as a very large file. It's high resolution. I'm going to click OK there, and there we have it on our page. I'm going to reduce the scale somewhat. I can just grab that, I think, and reduce it down. I think I kind of moved that. And we can move that onto our page as well. Zoom into that. Okay, now this is, as I say, a very high resolution image. The thing about Adobe Illustrator, which is the tool we have been using in the past, when we actually create vector lines from a photograph, it creates duplicate lines underneath, and it can actually be very complicated to try and clean up the file, because Illustrator isn't designed to produce these lines, but Inkscape is. And if I just go up to Path again, and it says Trace Bitmap there, I think this is incredible. I'm just going to left click on it, and we've got this this box appeared. If you just hit Live Preview there, this is actually the vectorized image that Inkscape has created immediately. And there's a threshold here with brightness, and this is fascinating. I can actually just drop the threshold down until I'm actually happy with it. And Inkscape will create a line around every black part here, very, very cleanly indeed. So I'm actually going to go round about there and say OK. I'm going to close that down now. And now I'm going to save my file in the same way. I'm going to save as. Again, I'm going to go to a DXF, which is our standard format for our laser cutter. And I'm going to call it Reptile Eye. So onto the desktop and save. Okay, there. So there's recently been a update in Inkscape, so a slight change. It's gone from Inkscape 9 to Inkscape 10, but if you download it, you'll probably see it as Inkscape 1.0 or 1.0.1, because they're always making slight changes. It really doesn't matter, but there'll be subtle changes. One of them is that if we just kind of drag our reptile eye in here, it's given us a slightly different thing here. I'm just going to click OK there, and there's our image in the same way, which we can scale and move in the same way. The main difference is that when we go to Path and Trace Bitmap, we've got our image that appears here. I think if we go to single scan and update, there it appears. That's great. So when we actually change our brightness threshold here and we make it darker, for instance, we have to actually hit the update there to make it change, to see the changes there. So we'll go lighter there and just update again, and you can see it's the same thing, but it's not in real time as we move. So subtle differences, but you'll find with Inkscape and with any kind of program, as they develop and as they change, there will be these little changes. I thought I'd better show you that. I can't tell you how pleased I am to find a very easy to use bit of free software that can do this so easily and so efficiently. So let's go back to RDWorks, And now I'm going to go to File, Import, and I'm going to look for that reptile IDXF, and there it is. And immediately the software can recognize it, so I'm going to open that, and there you have it. So let's just zoom in again. I'm just going to see what the laser cutter makes of this file. I'm just going to go up to the little preview up there. Okay, and what we have here is what the laser cutter itself can see from our Jpeg. So very, very quickly we've managed to take a Jpeg and create a vector line directly from it. Let's see what happens if we turn this cut into a scan. Rather than actually click OK there, rather than actually follow a line, any closed line now should be actually completely closed. Let's see what the software makes of it. Might take some time. That's wonderful. So this is actually what the laser cutter will do in a scan. Rather than drawing a vector line around the outside of each of these shapes, the laser cutter is actually going to travel from the top to the bottom, left to right, from top to bottom, turning a pulse on where it sees a black line, and turning that pulse off where it sees background, white. And the image you see here will actually be filled completely. In fact, we can actually cut out around about 3 millimeters deep into wood or into acrylic. I'm going to actually try this. I think it looks so good. And that concludes the introduction to Inkscape. If you go online, though, you'll see lots and lots of free resources, videos on how to use it. And this is what I've done, basically. I mean, I've just kind of introduced myself to this software, went online, and if I got stuck, I'm just questioning, how do you create a line in Inkscape, for instance? Have a look at videos, and there will be information that people have put there for you to learn from. So lots and lots of opportunities to learn, and the best thing about it is it's completely free. Thanks very much for watching.